Well, you had to know that it was not going to last forever. High scoring, tons of goals, getting more than 3 or 4. It's all going to come crashing down. And I'm doing the post-game show. You had to know exactly what was coming tonight. Welcome to Afterburners. Boomer, Ryan, Pike. It's a presentation of Bet365, the world's largest sports betting platform. Get that account open if you don't already. Use the promo code NATION when you sign up and bet on a huge range of markets. Download the app. You're going to love it. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365 as we get into it. Pike, I texted you partway through. It was 1-0, obviously early, and 1-0 after 1 and 1-0 after 2. And so, yeah, we got our work cut out for you. I hope you have something. I hope there's something happening here that I'm not picking up. A couple more goals were scored, but I guess just thoughts on the game. To look back to the Chicago game, I mean, Chicago's a different team. They're in a different spot in their lifespan. But what did you make of the Flames compared to 24 hours ago?
Well, I mean, for those of you who utilize Bet365 this evening, I hope you took the under. This was, I'd say, if you're the Flames looking at them, I checked in the first period. So the St. Louis Blues last played at home on Saturday in the early slot. They came off the ice at about 7:26 Mountain Time, right as the Flames were hitting the ice for their game for warm-up against the LA Kings. And then the Flames played on Saturday, flew to Chicago. Folks, in addition to having Rick Ball in that city, Chicago is a good sports town. It's a building with a really fun history. It's a city with a really fun sports history, especially a fun hockey history. So even if you're not, Rory Cairns making his NHL debut, and even if you're not, all jacked to the gills, it's the kind of building, the kind of city that just sort of, you get some oomph out of you. And then there's St. Louis. With all due respect, St. Louis just does not have the same what the French would call I don't know what.
Right.
It's St. Louis on a Tuesday, third game in 4 nights, and St. Louis is 5 points back. Will enter the evening 5 points back of the Flames in, I believe, 10th place in the Western Conference. Looking up, going, oh crap! If we lose both these games to Calgary, we could be like 9 or 10 points back, and maybe we're washed already.
Yeah.
And so the Blues got an early goal. They went into their clog up the middle, play a boring ass game kind of style, because where they are in the season, they don't get style points at this point. They were 500. I think Blues fans, Blues coaching staff, Blues management, everyone wearing the blue note does not want to be a 500 team. They had aspirations of being significantly more than this. And so they played like a team that basically felt like they needed to win a boring home game. And bless their hearts, they accomplished their goal, because that was not a game that was high event. Both teams' power plays were kind of okay. I think the Blues had 4 shots on theirs. Flames had 0 on 2. All the goals were kind of okay. I liked Kevin Ball's goal, but yeah, it was, the Flames just looked like, after the emotional high of a big win in a tough building to get the season sweep over Chicago, with some young kids all having big games, and oh golly gee, this is going to be fun. Then you kind of just crashed back down to earth and just had a 60 minutes in St. Louis that I think no one involved will have memories of in 24 hours.
It's also the 3rd and 4. I mean, you could tell, back to back in Chicago. Sunday's a travel day. Saturday they played the LA Kings. Then they've got St. Louis again coming up. I don't know. It was not a very inspiring effort on either side. St. Louis is going to do what they have to do. And these two teams are kind of similar. They don't score a ton. They have to really kind of grind things out. And it was just a little bit better for St. Louis. I didn't think Binnington had to be great. I'm kind of surprised that the one shot that beat him. It was from, I don't even know if it's change up, but he kind of double clutches and catches him on the short side. But pretty routine for a 27 shot performance for Binnington. And for Dan Vladar, it's another loss. 23 saves. He is now winless in 4, 1 victory in his last 6 starts. And it's it's the gap is widening. Is that fair to say? Because for a while as well, Wolf only plays easy opponents and he's only at home. Well, now he's playing some tougher opponents, maybe, and they're winning a little bit more, having more success on the road. And for Vladar, it doesn't seem to really matter where he's at. One goes in 49 seconds, and yeah, right there, Piker.
I got something in my eye. It's some sadness apparently over
Dan
Vladar.
Okay, don't. He's okay with it. They'll put it back in. I'm not sure he's going to get in on Thursday night. But there's some games on the way for Vladar. We talked about it on the other show. Trade deadline. Maybe you could. I'm just not sure how many teams are going to be looking for a goalie, if they need a goalie of Dan Vladar's ilk, or if they would just look internally and say, well, we maybe have a Dan Vladar.
I think the problem is, like on the other show, this is going to be a thing the whole show now.
Well, I was going to say, do you want to, I could rattle through some stuff.
No. On the other show, you guys often speak with Noodles, Jamie McLennan, for those who are unfamiliar, and Noodles would admit that he ever top 60 goalie in the league consensus. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but he was the right guy for specific types of teams. He was the guy. He was a really good personality foil to Mika Kiprusoff, and he was a guy you could throw in at short notice where, Mika's tired, you're going in. Mika faced 90,000 shots last game, you're going in. And Vladar, I think, between circumstance and performance, he's settling into a role as a 2. And the questions this season heading into the year for the goaltenders especially was, can Vladar bounce back from his hip surgery, and can Dustin Wolf be a reliable NHL goaltender? The answer to the second question is yes, like unabashedly yes. He's going to finish easily top 5 for the Calder. He might get some Vezina consideration based on how good his numbers are this year. And then, bless his heart, Vladar has been an absolute workhorse in, for lack of a better term, the bad starts. He's, you're playing LA on a back-to-back night. Granted, that game got washed out, but you throw in Dan Vladar in those kind of situations. Back-to-backs on the road, tough opponents, 3 games in 4 nights, games where you're like, ooh, this would be a tough one for Wolfie. Okay, Dan can have that one. And as we're getting down the stretch, I think, we've seen more and more Wolf, because I think, and rightfully so, they're just taking the shackles off him a bit. But I still think, Dan Vladar is a damn fine goalie, especially for the role he's been asked to take on. And, if you're the Flames right now, Devin Cooley's unavailable in the American League. I believe he has some sort of a minor injury, but, Devin Cooley has played 6 NHL games, and he's one of the anchors for a very good AHL team. Whereas, Vladar, you kind of know what he is. And if the downside of Vladar is he's just a pretty good backup that helps you bring out the best in Wolf, I think there's a value to that. Similar to our friend Noodles was a really reliable backup that I think doesn't get out credit for helping bring out the best in Kiprusoff.
And we'll do some comments at the end of the, not to suggest this is on Dan Vladar, but it's just it's a trend that continues. It's the guys don't play that inspired in front of him. I think if you were to go back and look at the body of work, it's probably a lot, not a Vladar loss necessarily. It's a team loss. Guys weren't real good. You have one goal in terms of run support. You needed to be perfect. Could you be perfect tonight and not let in a goal? That's how Dan Vladar had to play tonight if the Flames are going to be successful, basically. So not necessarily on him, but that'll be weighing on him. It's a loss on the road. They've been a little bit better, 4-2 now in their last 6 on the road, because it had been atrocious. They had 4 all season, and now they've got 4 in their last 6. So that's not too shabby. Are you surprised? Let me do this before we go any further. I want to just get some of this in here. Now I had my notes, and then I tossed them. And now I got to find them here. Do this. I want to tell you about our home away from home, Richmond's Pub, 3919 Richmond Road in the heart of Glamorgan. We were there a week ago tonight. Had the wings. Jack was all talk. He's like, I'm going. We're have some wings. We're gonna crush some wings. Didn't crush any wings. I didn't offer them either. I ordered. Jack, I'd ordered your own. Don't be a girlfriend. It's like your girlfriend. Oh no, I don't really want any. Oh, can I just have a little bit of what you have? Some of your French fries? Can I just have? I'd have ordered you some, but then you sat there without any wings and you watched me eat the wings. They're so good every Tuesday at Richmond's. They got stuff going on all the time. It's great food. It's daily specials. TVs everywhere. They got more TVs put in not that long ago. It's high def. It's loud. They got the goal horn. They got the Barn Burner Blonde from Origin going all day. The cans of Barn Burner Blonde are there, and drink specials and food specials and VIP trips that you can win and go. We gave away a couple last week. Somebody's going down to Philadelphia next year for week 3 action in the National Football League.
Are they going to go visit Frank?
They may. Yeah, that could be. You don't have to. You could have, I suppose, if you want. Richmond's Pub. Sports live here. 3919 Richmond Road in the heart of Glamorgan. Shoot, what was I gonna? Were you surprised that Pospisil was in this game today, based on the hit from last night?
Nah. I mean, Hall finished the game. The main thing with, I mean, do I think he probably got some sort of a stern talking to via if he hasn't, he's going to get another one. He's already gotten a couple from the league, just being like, oh, buddy, come on, man. Don't do that. It wasn't a smart hit to attempt in that game situation. But I mean, their main thing is if the guy is injured, you're probably getting a hearing. If the guy's fine, then okay, don't do that again, please.
I've always wondered about that. Why it's necessarily contingent on how much time the person, if the guy's hurt, well, then how many games is he going to miss? So that'll impact. I mean, the hit's the hit. The situation is the situation, but I guess I'm kind of out on my own there. I don't know how Hall wasn't hurt because he was hit from behind.
He's made out of rubber.
Side, but from behind and went face first. The visor, helmet, it was just, I don't know how you could do that 10 times. I swear, he's getting teeth knocked out or broken orbital bone 9 out of 10 times. It just kind of grazed and he got back up. And I guess it was 5 in a game. They consider it punishment enough, I suppose, because he missed the pretty much the entire hockey game. But man, that was a nasty hit. I'm not. Everybody has these conversations. Well, what'd you think of the hit? Like, look at it. Right there, as his head comes down. This is the angle here where you could really see it.
Ooh,
I mean, man.
Yeah, it's the approach for me. Like, just the idea that you could have gone in and just sort of pinned him, and you would have been fine. But you're taught to finish your checks. But in a game where you're up 4-1 on the road, you're in cruise control at this point. You've already seen, Jacob Pelche put up a bunch of points. The show is over. Everybody throw it into cruise control. Let's start thinking about what we're going to eat on the plane to St. Louis. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, buddy, this is going to be an easy one. Come on, guy. So
we talked about it. I talked with Rhett today, and he was like, that is not a good hit, to the point that it's good that Hall gets up, obviously, so he avoids injury. But if he stays down, probably Pat Maroon or somebody now they're going to go to town on Pospisil to get the pound of flesh. And it's also a hit that probably even the Flames guys in the bench are like, Marty.
Well, he was already so popular with the Chicago Blackhawks folks. I mean, the game before Christmas, the game before Christmas, I loved watching Pospisil because it was clean, open ice hits one on Bedard that he just, sat him down, and one on, I believe it was Frank Nazar, who just sort of, got caught in the trolley tracks. And both of those, if you're a Blackhawks fan or a Blackhawks player, I get why you don't want your skilled players getting smushed by Marty Pospisil. But yeah, okay, neither guy was injured. They were clean hits. You're not gonna. He's not a guy who can afford to shy away from the physicality, but he's also the guy who's gotten some stern lectures from the league, has missed some time, and he's always going to have to play physical because I don't think he's in the NHL entirely due to his skills as an offensive force. He's there to open up space for the guys who can put the puck in the net. And, he could have a very long productive career. I mean, I think of a lot of parallels with him and Michael Furland, who Michael Furland played that kind of smash mouth style. And unfortunately his career was cut short because he had far too many concussions at far too young an age. I think Ferland's first NHL game, he got knocked out with a concussion, actually. So I have a great deal of affection for Ferland as a player and as a person, and I'm really hoping that Marty Pospisil's career is a little bit longer and more fruitful, because you have that kind of internal cautionary tale where there's guys in that team who played with Ferland and can probably remember the kinds of hits he threw and the kind of hits he took and go, oh, buddy, maybe you should just learn a few lessons here and there so you don't have to learn a bigger lesson later on.
I wanted to find the tweet from our cohort, Mike Gould, who does this show and is part of Flames Nation. With the goal for Kevin Ball tonight, I lost count of how many articles I read this summer bemoaning how Calgary couldn't get Alexander Holtz in the Jacob Markstrom trade. But wouldn't you know it, Ball is one goal back of tying Holtz in that category this season. I guess it's maybe a indicator of both guys. Probably Holtz hasn't worked out. But you know what it is? It was not Markstrom trade. It was going to be flashy. It's going to be a blockbuster deal. And I think a lot of Flames fans were disappointed with the return. This is the best you could have hoped for. Is Kevin Ball is going to come in and he's going to be steady. He's going to be big. He's going to be a defensive guy. You can't care about the offense. Anything you get there is going to be a bonus. Wolf has emerged as the goaltender and is of the future, of the present, quite frankly. So you made, I don't know what other deals were out there, but it's gone as well as you could hope, I would think, given what it was for Craig Conroy and the Flames to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think folks, the Flames analytics folks and the Flames pro scouts saw something in Kevin Ball they liked. He's, bless his heart, he's a meat and potatoes defenseman. There is absolutely nothing flashy about Kevin Ball, but he's such a great compliment to Rasmus Anderson's skill set, because Ball's lack of swagger almost enables Anderson's swagger. And we saw very similar in some ways, Chris Tanev really providing a great compliment to Oliver Shillington that one year where Shillington was just a monster with the puck. And if you look throughout Flames history, there's a lot of big burly defensive guy with sort of puck mover, and the Flames right now have three pairs that I think sort of follow their archetype. They fall in love with the righty lefty pairs. They fall in love with the defensive guy and the puck moving guy. And, it seems to have worked pretty well. And I think it says a lot that they've tinkered around with every other defensive pairing all season long. And Ball and Anderson have been basically joined to the hip since the first game of the season. And, I think they've been the most consistent pair. They had I think they had a weekend, that one road trip where they were just not very good. They were bad on a couple games that no one looked particularly good in Flame sweaters. But overall, I think I'm really curious what Kevin Ball turns into, because he's still so young, man. Like, he's 24? He's played, this is his second full NHL season, maybe his first, because he was sort of in and out of the lineup in New Jersey. And part of the reason I think where he was available for the Flames was New Jersey just did not have an everyday spot for him. And he was the kind of guy where I think they probably saw his upward mobility and went, we don't have a spot for him. If he needs to move up, he's probably going to be bumped. He'll be pricing himself out of the role they'd have him in. And here, I mean, he's a guy based on, his style, based on how low risk he is, and that sneaky shot of his. He's a guy that could possibly play a big part in what the Flames end up becoming over the next however many years.
And we did talk a lot about it, because Alexander Holtz, here's a guy, he was a first-round draft pick in 2020. He came in, he had, this is a guy that maybe they've given up. He's only 22, would have been 21 or whatever at the time. Then is dealt in the offseason with Akira Schmid to Vegas for Paul Cotter and a third-round pick. So it was not, I don't know if Vegas saw something that New Jersey didn't, or if it's just New Jersey looked at the player and said, well, you could have him. He's not going to fit with us. And maybe Conroy saw the same thing, because now Vegas is an offensive team, but I don't think he's playing up the lineup with Vegas. He has 3 goals and 10 points in 44 games. So to do the point comparison between Ball and Holtz is probably not the right way to go about it. But certainly at this point, Kevin Ball has factored in far more regularly and in a bigger role than Holtz has would have probably for New Jersey, and certainly is in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, when you make trades, you're trying to solve problems, right? And one of the Flames' problems was they needed to open a spot for Dustin Wolf. They wanted to get old. They wanted to get younger, and they wanted to potentially, I think they had probably a few things they were looking at in terms of maybe they can get a young center, maybe they can get a young winger, maybe they can get a young defenseman. They had some things they wanted to tick off, and they got a young defenseman, and they have so many of these, again, they made the trade before the draft. So we can't really go, oh, Connie was playing 9-dimensional chess because he knew they were going to draft all these young guys. But, they have Brustevich in the system. Brustevich is probably an up-tempo puck-moving guy. They have a lot of guys who, after the draft, look like in that mold, Zane Parekh, Henry Muse. But they kind of need the defensive guys to enable that. And Kevin Ball, I'm very curious what the future holds for him, because he could be a guy that could play with a lot of different players as the future unfolds and potentially be very quietly an important player for the team.
Yeah, if he's just the guy that plays the minutes that he plays, but is just solid defensively, you love having it. That's the thing. In Warner, you talk to Warner or Corey Sarich about it. I mean, why is there no stay-at-home defense first defenseman? There's no more appreciation. But when you talk about elite D in this league, it's all about high skill, puck moving, points, flash. There's not a lot of love given to the guys who play it old school or just play it defensively. But Ball is that kind of guy. And if he wants to play 10, 12 years and just be steady back there, then I think they're going to be happy with it. It's a very quiet 20 minutes and 33 seconds, 3 shots on net, had some blocks. It's you need some of those guys in your system too.
Look at who the first guy to get extended by Craig Conroy this season was. Braden Pahal, Braden Pahal plays. You go weeks outside of a couple of big hits. You can go weeks without noticing Braden Pahal's in the lineup. He's perfect. He's the kind of defenseman where he'll give you minutes and you don't have to worry about it. He's just, you put him on the ice, you put him with whoever, and you don't have to worry about it. And if you have a few of those guys in your system, like the set and forget defenseman. I mean, I'm right there with Rhett. Was just, I think it's I think especially with how damn skilled the NHL is now, it's probably harder than ever to be a boring minutes defenseman, to be a guy that they just throw out there for 18, 20 minutes and you just make sure that nothing happens when on the ice. I think that's an underrated skill to basically be a clock killer at the worst of times. And I think that the Flames have a few guys in their system. They have a couple of guys in their lineup right now who they can routinely just throw it on the ice and they can be pretty sure that nothing will happen for the other team when they're on the ice.
Well, Ball has 2 goals on the season. You celebrate them when you get them. We have it loaded up. We're talking about them. We may as well take a look at Kevin Ball's goal, the only one for the Flames on the night.
Again, doesn't it, the way he's played here in this game? Sign seems to be heating up again. Pospisil to Ball, takes the shot in, shoots, scores! A little stick twirl from Kevin Ball, who ties it in the third.
Does that go off of Broberg's stick there, I wonder? Because it's from well out and it's not a bomb. But and look where Binnington is. He's well out. So yeah, I wonder if Broberg doesn't get a piece of that and tip it. But
I love the fake slap at the top of the circle, and then he just keeps skating. So if you're Binnington, you're already you come out to sort of expecting the slapper, and then you're like, oh crap!
I like the stick. I like the stick twirl from the two goal scorer as well. That's how you do. Ladies and gentlemen.
Subtle thing on that clip: the organist at Enterprise Center playing "We Didn't Start the Fire." Yeah. That's
because it's the Flames, and that's
some tidy work there, organist.
That's
well done.
Clever.
Well done.
Very, very clever. We are headed as a group. Now, I don't know if I shouldn't say as a group. Are you going to Jasper next weekend?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Some of us have to work.
I know. Yeah, there is that. It's the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament. We've been going there for a few years now. We're going back. And with everything that happened in Jasper, with the fires and everything, thrilled to be going back. The Donkeys up to the north, Oilers Nation, guys from Leafs Nation are going. Vancouver. It's a great time. And we have some sponsors on board. welcome to Booster Juice, the proud puck partner for our group at the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament. Booster Juice. Visit a location today. Refuel, refresh, re-energize, or download the new Booster Rewards app to earn, order, and enjoy. Nothing like a good Booster Juice. Take care of yourself. Keep yourself hydrated. Get some protein in there. Some fuel that's good for you. Pike. I know you have a terrible diet. I'm sure. Take care of yourself. Get some Booster Juice in your life.
I eat nothing but arena food, and when I pass one, Booster Juice, because I know I need to get good nutrition in me.
Do you have the Booster Rewards app?
I don't, but I should.
Well, you know what? Not right now because we're doing a show. But as soon as we're done, go and download that app, like we all will. I'm going to do it too. Download the Booster Rewards app and start earning berry points for delicious and nutritious smoothies, drinks, and food that'll help get you through the day. Booster Juice. Right there. And also, we're not big ones for, gratuitous product placement, but Yeti on board. Happy about this one. Who doesn't love Yeti? They are going to be with us as well. From what I understand, setting us up in Jasper. We got coolers and we got drinks and we got chairs and we got tent, the whole deal. It's going to be the Yeti Palace for Flames Nation when we head up to Jasper next weekend. Looking forward to it. Yeti, crave the cold and extend your ice time with hard-hitting gear that's built to honor the toughest sport on earth. Get you some Yeti. Yeti.ca for us here in Canada. This it's going to sound coincidental. I actually I'm anticipating my order from Yeti at Yeti.ca. It's going to be showing up any day. Very excited.
Hey, all I know is with all this great support, you guys better defend our championship.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I don't know. It's Pinder's deal. I've left him in charge. He built the roster last year.
He built a championship roster last year.
He did. Yeah. And I was very, very concerned going in, but a win's a win. But now you've got the target on your back. Now and in fairness, we did kind of play it up a little bit last year. In case anybody was curious, we let them know who won the trophy last year. We let them know, drank out of it, made a lot of noise. It was a whole lot of hoop-de-doo last year from us. And I feel like there's going to be some teams taking a real run at us.
Well, I think what you guys got to do is you got to play physical that first game, especially against Oilers Nation. I mean, maybe be nice to Tyler, but the rest of them, I mean, you gotta make a statement in that first game.
Somebody asking if I can skate. It's not it's tight quarters is what it is, because you're on Lake Mildred up there, so they clean a number of different ice patches, right? I'll call it a rink or whatever, but you have your ice, so it's it's lake ice. It's bumpy and there's cracks and stuff, and it's very tight. And you should play 3-on-3, but everybody wants to play 4-on-4. I don't know why. So you need to be really shifty, really good in your skates, really be able to dip in. That ain't me. I need some space we got to get. Boom's going to need go down barreling down the wing. Go to the back post, boom. Skate right to the back post and hit. That's my role. So that doesn't really work well in Jasper. So I played 2 years ago. Last year I decided, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to watch. I'll come and be there and cheer you guys on and
have you moved into coaching?
It wasn't really coaching. It was, what it was? It was critiquing. Jack was playing. He looked one game really good. The next one, terrible. It looked like he was like having, he looked like death, basically. His face was hungover as shit. You looked like a tomato. It was rough. RJ, again, solid player, but he had been overserved, so he wasn't great either the next day. But you know what? We came out on top.
You played guilty, and you managed to get the W. That's the important thing.
Yeti, right there. See that bit? See that bad boy? You put ice in there, it stays in there for so long. Do you like cold drinks? Here's the thing about Yeti. So smart. I don't know how you put cold in there, it's going to keep it cold. You put hot in there, it's going to keep it hot as well. How does it know?
So in that first game of the day, when Jack has his Irish coffee, it'll stay nice and toasty for him
All day. All day.
That's pretty good. Jack, you better be taking notes. We're trying to help you strategize.
Yep. My kid, he's like, is there still the ice is still in there? I'm like, yeah, it's a Yeti. It's what they do, buddies. This is called the king crab, the orange. Very fond of it.
Now I gotta put it in order then, I think, because this is. We'll
give it a look. See,
we'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll get you. We'll take care of you there. Would you like to take a look at the out of town scoreboard?
There's some games I think that Flames fans will be very curious about.
13 games tonight. Flames were involved in one of them. So 12, aside from the one that we've talked about. And I feel like we've really talked. Is there anything else before we move on? Is there anything else from this game? 2-1. The 3-game winning streak is over. The point streak for Rory Cairns is over. He's not going to be a 2,000 point player.
His points per game plummeted.
Yeah.
Now he's only a point per game player
only
in the NHL.
Point per game.
There's plenty of those. Yeah. It was a game. It was
Jacob Pelche's goal scoring streak ends at 1. 1 game. Jake Bean also, his goal streak ended at 1.
Sharangovich
over. Yeah, over.
The road winning streak is done too.
It's over. Yeah. I don't know how Coleman missed that net in the late stages of the third. Whoever it was that passed it from below the goal and hit him right in the slot, and he wired it up. It looked from the one angle. 4 feet wide.
We've spoken very highly of Matt Coronato's goal scoring ability during the season. He almost scored an empty netter on his own net from behind the St. Louis net when Dan Vladar was on the bench, and thankfully it seemed like it missed the net by maybe 6 inches. It was far closer than anyone helped. And I think Greg Miller on the broadcast was just playing it up that he felt so bad for Coronado, probably standing behind the net and watching the puck drift towards the empty net the entire way. And then thankfully it went wide. But yeah,
I don't want to talk about Coronado. I got screwed last night. Remember Coronado scored last night? That play in front of the net and wired it home.
My understanding was that was the 209th career goal for the Flames captain, and Coronado happened to get his 3rd consecutive primary assist on the game winner. He did not score the game winner apparently, but he had the primary assist.
A crock. That's a load of hooey is what it is. Especially for those of us that had Matt Coronado anytime goal at plus 220 or plus 300 on the old Bet 365. Anyway, not that I'm sour about it or anything.
Not at all.
Also, Greg Millen, I saw him right hammered in what's the name of the Morton Steakhouse in Vancouver one night. Just bombed. Loud. Which is fine. You tend to be loud when you're hammered. I know, or
I'm loud. I'm loud all the time.
Yeah, you really are. You're a handful. You whippersnapper. Out of town scoreboard. We'll take a look-see at it. I guess in no particular order. We can kind of go through. No goal for Alex Ovechkin, but the Caps do get 3 of them as they win 3-0 over Anaheim. Logan Thompson shutout, 18 saves, 8-game point streak for the Caps. Logan Thompson not on the Team Canada for the Four Nations.
Don't get it.
Don't like it. It's been great.
I would have taken him.
Yeah. I don't. You're probably excited for it, right? The Four Nations.
I don't know. I'm much more excited for the Olympics.
Yeah, because it's a thing. It's been a thing, right? The Olympics, it's been around for a long time, and there's history, and there's...
This generation of players grew up watching Jerome McGinley and Joe Sakic and all these guys in the Olympics. I don't think they, there's no, the generation before, the older players, they saw the Canada Cup and the Summit Series. So for them, getting to the Olympics was something new and different, but they grew up dreaming of winning the Canada Cup. Or then when they changed the name of the World Cup, everyone's like, oh, okay, but we're still going to the Olympics, right? And then no Olympics for a while. So I think if you're any of these players, it's the middle of the season. If you win, like, do you get a medal or a trophy or something?
Hey,
like,
and you know what? Be excited for it. We're all probably going to watch it. We'll get excited. We're going to have that Canadian pride. Our Canadian blood going to be pumping through our veins. We're going to be rooting with every goal. We're going to be, dying with every goal against, that sort of thing. I let's go. It's the best I can do. It just needs to get here, and let's just do it already.
The games will be fun. And I think once it gets here, I agree with you. I think people, will be crapping on it until it happens. And then they're like, oh, okay, the first game will be really good. And we'll all get into it. And, it'll be the closest thing we have to the Olympics. I think the big challenge would be if they end up doing this thing more than once, because, okay, this is better than nothing. But then we got the Olympics next year. And then once the Olympics come and go, if they try to trot out the wish version of the Olympics where they're like, hey, look, your favorite international teams, we got 4 of them, but not Russia or Czechia or even Germany. But you got Leon Draisaitl. I know it's heresy to say nice things about players up north. So everyone plug your ears if you hate Leon Draisaitl. Possibly the best player in the league is not playing on the best on best event the NHL is hosting, which the limitations are the limitations are. It's just weird. It's
going to be great though. With everybody, the 4 that are there, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. Binnington's going to be there.
Rasmus Anderson's going to be there.
We watched him play. Yeah. The Detroit Red Wings have been really good under Todd McClellan. 7-1 prior to tonight. They lose. The Sharks get 4 in the third to beat Detroit 6-3, end that streak at 7. Who was the old coach in Detroit? What was his name?
Lashel?
Yeah, no, that was 2 coaches ago. This was the assistant that came out of Tampa, the bald dude. Anyway, I always wonder how coaches feel when they're mucking around and middling record, and then another guy comes in and just immediately turns the power play, goes from 2% to 20% in about 4 games. Like, damn it. You would just hate every guy in that room. You sons of bitches. You sons of bitches. The Bruins beat the Lightning by a 6-2 score. David Pasternak, goal to helpers. Jeremy Swayman, the Sway Dog, with 43 saves. Leafs, I believe that's 3 in a row now as far as defeats for Team Treliving. Dallas 4-1. Logan Stankoven 2 goals and an assist. Matt Duchene, a goal and 2 helpers. Stars are 9-1-1 in their last 11. Pretty good. One of us, at least one of us, I believe, picked the Dallas Stars to make it to the Cup final this year.
Not even both of us. I can't remember who I picked. So long ago.
Yeah, ask Robert.
It's on the website somewhere.
Yeah, it's on the internet. There.
Good for Dallas though. I mean, Dallas has built a really fun team, and they have a ton of good young players stashed away in their AHL team that they just keep plugging in, and you kind of know what you're going to get from them every night. They're if the team you're cheering for is not playing the Dallas Stars, they're a fun team to watch. If you get a chance, if Dallas is just playing, let's say Edmonton, throw the game on.
It'll be fun. Sure. We were all pretty big Stars fans last year. Big Stars fans there. Thought they had it too. Kind of thought they had it. The Columbus Blue Jackets beat the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2 in a shootout. Werenski ties in the third. Have you seen the points that Werenski has? Zach Werenski is out of his mind. Because I was looking at it this morning, and I knew that he was over a point a game, which is tremendous. He is 15th in league scoring, has 50 points in 44 games. What? I believe that now, because Quinn Hughes has been hurt. He has 1 more point than Cale Makar to lead NHL defenseman in scoring.
15 goals.
The guy on the Blue Jackets. Anywho, so he ties it in third. Kent Johnson and Kirill Marchenko score in the shootout. And I read this on NHL.com, and I did not have time to suss it out. The Jackets have a home point streak of 17 games.
It's the cannon.
I don't know. Not sure what it is. But that's great. That's great for the Blue Jackets. May as well get in. They're in a playoff spot. May as well get there. Where are they with that 2 points? I mean, they're
in a wild card spot, I think.
Yeah, they're, you know what? Well, points percentage, it's all going to change here in a little bit when they update everything. But anyway, they're kind of right there. Columbus or Ottawa? Who do you want in?
As much as I want Julian McKenzie to be able to work playoff games, I gotta go Columbus.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like to see Ottawa get in there, but I kind of like to see, you know what, Boston could beat it. If Boston just wants to fall out, that'd be all right.
I'd be okay with that too. I mean, then everybody's happy except for the 3 to 4 Bruins fans. Everybody knows.
You know, New Jersey's not going to fall out because I'm just looking here. Toronto, Florida, Tampa. I want all those in. There's good drama there. Washington, sure. The Devils and the Carolina Hurricanes. Canes should be really good. They should be better, I think, than their record is. And then Boston is in a wild card with Columbus. So yeah, it would be, man, imagine if Ottawa and Montreal got in there, because the Habs are kind of sniffing around it. Anyway, I'm getting distracted from the other town scoreboard. I'm sorry, everybody. The Kraken beat Jack's Penguins by a score of 4-2. The Kraken scored 3 straight in the third to come back and win it. The third period lead.
I was hearing from beloved colleagues in scenic Pittsburgh that was a fairly low attended game. Officially 16,000. That's tickets distributed, kids. That's not the scan count. The scan count, it's very snowy on the East Coast, especially in the Pittsburgh area. And it was, I think, one of those games where they kind of wanted, if you showed up, Mario Lemieux should have probably given you a hug, or that cool penguin mascot that saved the team in that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Yeah, which
Iceberg, that's his name.
Iceberg. Well, and that with the GH at the end. Iceberg, like
that's Pittsburgh.
It's actually pretty. It's pretty clever. Because that was at the Igloo, the old barn,
the old Igloo. Their new building's nice. I like the new building.
I do like the new building as well. Panthers beat the Devils in a shootout by a 2-1 score. Senators win. I don't know who Levi Marilainen is, but he's got, I believe, 3 wins in a row in the net for the Ottawa Senators, including a 23-save shutout tonight. We talked about it on the other show. It's shades of Patrick Lalime when he came in as a nobody and then went on a real tear. And then Hammond, the Hamburglar, kind of did the same quite a few years ago, probably now. Maybe Levi Marilainen will be the guy in Ottawa to push them right through to a playoff spot.
I've heard good things about him in the AHL, but I could not pick him out of a lineup if you gave me 2 or 3 choices. But that's kind of the magic of hockey, isn't it? A Finnish goalie you've never heard of can show up in January and save your season.
And I mean, that's kind of what Binnington did the year that they went all the way to the Cup and won that thing. Came in January, took over the net, and the rest, as they say, que sera, sera. The Knights and Predators. Where is that one at now? Sorry, guys. Come on, guys.
It just finished, I think.
Predators win, by a score of 5-3. So the Predators don't win a lot, but they get it done here as they beat the Golden Knights at the Bridgestone Arena. How bombed were the Golden Knights last night? That's the question. How much boozing? Pavel Dorofeyev gets his first NHL hat trick. Stamkos 2 goals and an assist in that one. Knights are good. Everybody hates the Knights. I get it. I understand, but they're real good. And then if the Flames loss has you down, if you're kind of down in the mouth, you're kind of this might cheer you up. The Vancouver Canucks got something pushed in tonight in Winnipeg. 6-1. The Jets absolutely throttle Vancouver. It was a big night for Kyle Connor, 3 goals and an assist. Gabe Vilardi, 3 helpers. It was Kevin Lankinen in net, allowing the 6 on 33 shots. Philip Hronek came back for Vancouver on the blue line, played just over 20 minutes. But that is...
Well, thank goodness that Phil Hronek came back, because it could have gotten out of hand.
It could have gotten
had
ugly.
He not have been in the lineup.
Man, that's natural hat trick in a span of 6 minutes and 38 seconds. As Hellebuck gets another win. I mean, give him the Vezina now. It's just first team to 30 wins. Goodness gracious.
I think the GMs are just going to write their ballots and just put. At this point, you can put Hellebuck 1, 2, 3 on your ballots and then just call it a day. He's been that good for them. But I mean, you get run support, you get 6, and then oh boy, Nils Höglander ruins your shutout bid halfway through the game or halfway through the third period. I mean, way to be a party pooper, Nils, but at least 6-1 still.
I mean, that is the other thing. It was 3-0, then 5-0, 6-0 in the third. They get the one goal they get is at the 9:16 mark of the third.
Is it a moral victory for the Canucks that in a game where they were down 3 goals within the first half of the period?
There's no victory of any kind. Moral, realistic, actual, none.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have the standings open in front of me. So the Flames remain a point ahead of Vancouver, and they have the same number of games, 43 games played. So the Flames are ahead of them by both points and points percentage heading into the futures games. Okay? That's fun.
Yeah, they are in terms, however you want to slice it. Points percentage, the Flames have the second wild card spot.
Just like everyone predicted in September.
Yeah, not exactly. Warner said this game tonight against St. Louis was a must win. He said, if you get St. Louis and you push them a little bit further back, they'll be done. Now the gap is 3 points, but they've played more games. It's kind of silly to talk about playoff implications at this point, but what else are we going to talk about tonight? I think we hit on all the games. There's
a
couple still running. Rangers are leading the Avs.
The Colorado game has implications because the Flames entered the game 4 back of the Colorado Avalanche for the second or the first wild card, and I think the Flames have 2 games in hand still. That would include the Colorado. I think as we're discussing this, is down a goal to the Rangers with 4.5 left in the third. So if that result holds, the Flames will remain 4 back with 2 in hand. So the Flames did not lose ground on anyone or gain ground on anyone. And really St. Louis, who are 5 points back, are a little bit closer, but they still have 2 games in hand on St. Louis. And depending on what happens Thursday, it might just all be a wash anyway.
Yeah. And it feels weird to talk about, well, where's Vancouver and St. Louis, to kind of be looking up at Colorado. It feels that's nice. If you guys want to have something to shoot for and have a goal.
I mean,
I just don't know that when it's all said and done, what that gap is going to be between the Flames and the Avalanche. I'm not sure.
I think if all due respect to the Flames, I think when the Avalanche are playing to their capabilities and have adequate goaltending, there's a gap there. Yeah. But I mean, here we are in mid-January talking about the Flames being in a playoff spot, and not on some sort of weird technicality, but because they've beaten some teams, right? They have 3 points against the Vancouver Canucks. That's the thing that has them above the Canucks. Basically, their performance in the season series. They beat the Oilers at home. They beat the Rangers with Wolf playing head to head against Shesterkin. I think if you look at the body of work the Flames have put together, I mean, yeah, they've had a somewhat favorable schedule at times. I think if you look at the tankathon.com, the Flames have one of the tougher schedules from here on out, which means they had one of the easier schedules to this point, but still got to beat the teams in front of you. And, they're in it.
What is tankathon.com?
Tankathon.com, for the people who obsess about the draft lottery, is a website where you can go and see everyone's draft lottery odds. And based on the league standings, you can run a mock lottery. If you're a Flames fan, maybe not the thing you want to do this year, because it might just make you sad if you're a draft lottery fan. But if you look at the other standings, you're either going to be happy with the standings or happy with the lottery standings. You're probably not going to be happy with both.
Colorado scored to tie it at 2, which is as you would expect. Maybe the goals under review. Anyway, and the Montreal is up on Utah. The hockey club, 7:14 to go in the third there. Habs lead that by a score of
beloved Utah Hockey Club blue liner John Marino, who's been injured all year, playing his first game with the hockey club, and hopefully he's having fun.
Well, sure, I guess so.
I'm just curious if you're at the Delta Center, how many John Marino jerseys do you sell when he does not start playing for your team until January 14th?
I don't think anyone knew he played for the team.
I had to be reminded.
Kind of the point. Yeah, it's like, who's
I
this
thought
guy?
he was,
Did we trade for him? No, he's been here all year. No,
I thought he was still with New Jersey, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So that's probably a good look at the out of town scoreboard. Let's take a look at the schedule that's coming up. It doesn't get any slower, doesn't necessarily get any easier. We know that they are in St. Louis. They're going to stay in St. Louis and take on the Blues on Thursday night. 6:00 start once again. And so much bad blood in this hockey game, man. I wonder if it'll spill over. Once again at the Nationwide Arena.
I wonder if there'll be more than 3 goals scored in that game.
Beyond that, they'll then head into Winnipeg, the scene of the crime tonight for the Vancouver Canucks, and take on the Winnipeg Jets, who, depending on the day, are at or near the top of the standings. Home for one against Buffalo, and then back out again against the Wild and the Jets. That's maybe not a murderer's row, but there's not a lot of easy ones there. And whenever you think it's easy, it's never easy, as we've seen, as Buffalo and Ottawa, just teams that you thought in the past and even this season that would be, it could be a good, this is a good win night. This is a night they feel good about it. Never count your chickens, I guess.
Yeah, and that Buffalo game begins the final 100 regular season games at the palatial Scotiabank Saddledome. So if you have not had a chance yet to go pay your respects, you only have 100 regular season games remaining to have a pocket dog, have a malt, give Rick a fist bump, high five Harvey or Blasty or wherever mascot you like. The countdown is on.
I kind of wonder if I've been there for the last time.
I hope.
I think it's better than 50-50 shot.
100 games.
I know I do. I just wonder if I will. I'm not sure if I'll necessarily get there. Let's take a look at our Bet365 for tonight. Bet365, of course, presenting sponsor of the program and the gaming partner, official gaming partner, both Afterburner, Barburner, world's largest sports betting platform. If you haven't already, get that account open. Use the promo code NATION when you sign up. Get that app on your phone and play along. There's all kinds of things on there, a huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So 13 tonight. Look at tomorrow. Just a whisper of games. Just a couple of games. Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Hurricanes should be more heavily favored, I feel like. If anything, the minus 185 is a bit insulting to the Hurricanes. And then the Oilers and the Wild. That would suggest that it's in Minnesota, correct? So the Oilers, road favorites against the Minnesotans.
Yeah, they're doing the old-fashioned Winnipeg, Minneapolis back-to-back, so that means they have to get on a Greyhound bus and drive south to the Twin Cities because Winnipeg does not have an airport.
Okay.
That's honestly going to be a fun game. I think Minnesota, they're not a boring team to watch anymore. They have some fun players. They have a hell of a goalie. They have, good young players up and down their lineup, and the Oilers are the Oilers, and we'll see how they go. But
I got no problem with the Wild. I think it's been a few years now since they've been kind of that stinky Jacques Lemaire, boring, put you to sleep type of a team. They got some. Matt Boldy's a great player. Of course, you got Kaprizov, he's super exciting.
Yeah, and I thought Edmonton played in Winnipeg tonight because I was
going to say I'm not sure.
I'm very awake after this.
I didn't want to blow you up. It was Vancouver and Winnipeg. I didn't want to. Didn't need to take you there.
Okay, so they can at least fly from an airport to an airport, getting into
they can
cities,
and go right in.
They can go to the St. Paul Hotel and have the best soup in the NHL.
Well, they'll have to fly into Minneapolis and then take a bus to St. Paul. Will be the only thing. So there will be a bus ride.
It's a shorter bus ride than from North Dakota.
Yeah. From Winnipeg, for sure it is. We'll take a look at just a couple things here before we go. We'll get into some burning questions. Cody, this is we were talking about Vladar earlier. This loss was not on Vladar. This was a good performance from him. Jordan Binnington is incredibly hard to beat, and the Flames were on a second half of a back-to-back. So Cody defending Vladar, and to his point, we were just discussing that for Vladar, the wins are not piling up. He is winless in 4, 1 win in his last 6, and not his fault necessarily. I don't know about the Parayko goal. It's a nice shot, but it's not a bomb. It's not a great angle. I don't know.
It had eyes. It had eyes, but you wanted him to have that one.
And the tip's a nice tip, I suppose. But there again, it comes just after or shortly after you've tied the thing, so it's not great. So then on the other side, there could be people. So there's the defenders, and then there's the detractors. Fuck's sake, says Kale. Just waive Vladar already. What, you maybe lose a 4th or 5th if he's claimed. Big deal. Bring Cooley up and see if he can play. So like with anything, Pike, 2 sides. Don't blame Vladar. By all means.
Reasonable people can disagree.
Yeah. Mickey had 31 wings myself. The last basket had an extra in there. Take that, critters. How about that? There's no guarantee when you go to Richmond's Pub and you order 30 wings, you're going to get 31. But you might. 31's impressive. Actually, it's not. I could do 31 in a heartbeat right now. I'm so hungry.
What period of time was 31 over? We need to get like a rate of wings per period or wings per hour or something.
I mean, that'd be an intermission, I would think, because I'm kind of thinking about when my wings showed up, and I had 2 orders, and they didn't last long, and I absolutely could have crushed more. But that's just me. Brady. The Flames had it back. Dan needed one more save. Instead, it immediately goes 2-1, and there's the final. We could have used more offense, but we needed a save.
Yeah, ain't wrong. 2 pucks got past him.
Yeah. You'd like to have more than 1 goal, for sure. But they did just score to tie it, and you can... Welderman, who's been a little belligerent in the chat tonight. I know you maybe don't see it, Pike, but he's been really kind of... How's the gout, Boom? Recently had my first experience with the disease. Almost cried. Yeah, it's a... You know what it is? It's a pot liquor, if you get it. Have you ever had it, Pike?
Thankfully, no.
Son of a gun. I, for a while now, I've had to kind of take daily medication just to keep the flare-ups from happening. Because it doesn't happen. You don't know when it's coming, and there's no rhyme or reason. But boy, when it hits, then you got to take a different medication to bring it down. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to take this other one to try and keep it. But I found I'm getting it in different, because it usually is in the big knuckle of your big toe, the ball of your foot, and it hurts like a son of a gun. Like, I mean, a son of a gun. I've gotten it like in my elbow. I've gotten it in my wrist, which is the joint in my thumb right there.
Ooh.
Don't get old, Pike. Just don't do it.
Oh, I'm covering the kids of people I covered when I started covering the NHL. I'm getting old.
I texted a buddy of mine. We grew up together, same age. I was listening to some older country music that we listened to from early 90s. Are you familiar with the band Sawyer Brown?
I am.
They had a album out, I believe it was 93. It was called Cafe on the Corner. And the title track is talking about the cafe on the corner, and talk about because the farmers are losing their farms, and they're having to then move into town and get different jobs. And the line of the song is, and the coffee is cold, and he's 50 years old, and he's got to learn to live some other way. And I texted my buddy, I'm like, for fuck's sake, so we're the old guy in Cafe on the Corner? When did this happen? All these years we've listened to Sawyer Brown, Cafe on the Corner, and now we're the guy who's working at the friggin' grocery store or whatever. And the coffee is cold, and he's 50 years old, and he's got to learn to live some other way. Yeah. Start a podcast. That's what I do. Mickey wants to know, should Conroy sign anyone who will be 30 when the deal kicks in?
This feels very targeted towards a specific player.
Do explain.
Well, the folks on the 3-letter network TSN with our pal Darren Dreger,
yeah,
we're on insider trading this thing in the late afternoon, and on the segment, Pierre LeBrun declared that the Calgary Flames don't know why people think that Rasmus Andersson is available, because he's not available, and they would very much like to sign him to a contract extension. And Rasmus Andersson, I believe right now he's 28. He will be 30 in the first month of his next contract. He is a 1996 birthday. Yeah, he's 96. So he'll be in the first month of the 2016 or 2026-27 season, he will be turning 30. And so folks are concerned about signing someone whose age begins in a 3 to a deal that will probably be 8 years.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we had the conversation. Should you sign Elias Lindholm to a contract extension? And then shortly thereafter, it was like, whew, good thing we didn't do that. And we should sign Noah Hannafin to a big, long-term, big money deal. And I'm not sure it's to the same extent, but it's kind of like, whew, good, kind of happy we didn't do that. I don't know. I really like Rasmus Andersson, and I feel like he's a guy that could fit in a situation like that. And Pinder, we go back and forth, and my whole thing with it is, if you keep waiting for everybody to be at the right age at the right time and the rink's new and everything, it's just, you can't. I have a feeling if you talk to teams that have won Stanley Cups, maybe it's hit exactly when all the contracts were ending for all the good players and all the good young players were on entry level, but it's just never going to be that way. I will say this: he had a great start to the season, and yeah, they play 82. I don't know. He's been fine, but I worry a bit about his boots, Pike, as we move forward a bit.
Yeah, I'll say this: I'm a big fan of the person and the player, and I think he'd be a guy that they see as a future captain and as someone, along with Weegar, who could bring a lot of these young, raw defensemen into the league. We've seen, Weegar had the benefit of, Weegar was not a highly touted player. Weegar was sort of, he played in the coast, he played in the A, he had to work his way up from basically ground zero, or the ground floor of professional hockey, and worked himself in, and he's done a hell of a job. But I think Andersson's been a highly touted prospect and has dealt with the scrutiny of being a highly touted prospect, and then became a pretty damn good NHL player. So I think for some of these young guys, your Parek's, your Bristevich's, your Muses, I don't think he necessarily blocks a spot from them. I think he's the kind of guy who would bring them along. But what's the old saying? The devil's in the details. You're probably, if you sign him, you're probably fairly happy with the deal from 30 to 35 or so, and then Father Time, you sang the Sawyer Brown song. At a certain point, time catches up to all of us, and he'll slow down, and he'll be a little bit not quite as good. Hardly anyone is Mark Giordano or Michael Backlund. So time catches up to basically everyone else. So I'd be very curious if you do it. I'd want to see the contract structure. Like, if for the non-nerdy, you can't buy out bonuses, you can only buy out salary. So maybe you sign into a long deal and you say, we'll give you whatever clauses you want, but we're going to go bonus heavy early, so you get guaranteed money, and then we'll put a bunch of salary in at the end. So if we think it's not working out, we can buy you out, or we can trade you somewhere, or we could do whatever. I think there's ways you could do it that would make it a little bit more palatable to the folks on the fence, but it's the kind of deal that is not going to be without risk because of his age.
At the cafe down on the corner, with a lost look on his face, there ain't no fields to plow. He's bussing tables now. He's just a little out of place. They say crime don't pay, but neither does farming these days. And the coffee is cold, and he's 50 years old, and he's got to learn to live some other way. Be careful, Rasmus. It happens fast. Happens real fast. Fuck!
That'll do it.
See ya, buddies.